Once upon a time, there was a little prince who lived on a tiny planet. And one day, he sought to explore the universe. And as he journeyed through the stars, he met some strange grown-ups. On the first planet he visited, he met a king who ruled over no one except his need for control. On the second planet he went to, he met a vain man who only wanted the little prince's applause and affection, giving nothing in return. And on the third planet he visited, he met a drinker who was drowning his shame of drinking by drinking. And this made the little prince very sad. On the fourth planet he visited, the little prince met a businessman who was so obsessed with counting the number of stars that he owned that he failed to look up and enjoy their beauty. On the fifth planet, he visited and met a lamplighter who was lighting and relighting his lamp every minute without ever asking why. And on the sixth planet he visited, he met a geographer who was so interested in gathering knowledge about the world and writing big, important books, but he never went out to even explore his own planet. Now, the little prince thought to himself, these adults, these grown-ups, are very strange. Then the little prince came here to Earth, and he met a little fox. Now, the little prince really wanted to play with this little fox, but the fox said to him, "I cannot play with you. I am not tamed." So the little prince asked himself and asked the fox, "Tamed? What does this mean?" The fox answered, "It's something too often forgotten. It means to create ties. It means that we care for each other and we're special to each other. It means I will recognize your footsteps when you're far away, and you will recognize mine." So the pair played together for a few days, and then when it came time for the little prince to leave, the fox shared with him a secret. One sees clearly only with the heart. What is essential is invisible to the eyes. Now, I love this story of the little prince. It appeals to children and adults alike. In 1943, it was written by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, and in a way, he was holding up a mirror to the society then. And if we want to look back to the past to bring to the future, we can see many of those trends today. In fact, the characters in The Little Prince aren't just fiction, but they can come up in each and every one of us. If you think about it, we can be like the king when our ego becomes big and we want control without connection. We can be like the vain man seeking out so many social media followers and likes without making a meaningful connection. We can be like the drinker when we're numbing our emotions with distractions, habits, or overwork. We can be like the geographer and trying to just focus on data and not understanding the world around us and not even stepping out into the real life. We can be like the lamplighter caught in a daily grind, doing menial tasks over and over and not ever asking why. Or we can be like the businessman caught in pursuit of success at no cost. Or we can be like the little prince and the little fox, focusing on what's essential in life. Who do you want to be? In our modern world, we are so taken by so many distractions, so many things occupy our attention. And today I want to invite you to think about the practice of inner reflection. Inner reflection is a way of reclaiming our attention and focusing on what's essential to us. It's a way of pausing, slowing down, and better understanding what's going on inside, looking at our emotions, our thoughts, and our reactions. It helps us pause and think, where am I not at peace? What am I taming? What kind of world do I want to create? So today, I invite you to think of inner reflection as a compass to help guide you in our crazy world. So we're here today in this beautiful Co-Palace in Switzerland. This historic building was built as a luxury hotel in the 1900s. After the Second World War, it was given as a gift by 100 Swiss families to the People's Movement Co-Initiatives of Change Foundation, where I work. Now, Initiatives of Change is a global people's movement that's focused on a simple but profound principle: changing the world by changing yourself. Because change doesn't always happen over here, but it starts in here. For more than 80 years, people have been coming here to our forums to discuss, to look at forgiveness, reconciliation, and peace. And every summer during our co-forum, we invite people here not just to talk about change, but to live it, to be the change. One of the key tools that Initiatives of Change uses for this change is inner reflection. Now, the great thing about inner reflection is it's not something you need to go to a fancy course or study and join a program or sit in a cave to do. It's something that you can start today, right here, right now. But it requires a willingness to pause amidst our world full of distractions where we're constantly being pulled in one direction or another. So today I invite you to pause. How do you do this? So the first step, and often the most difficult, is to find some quiet time. Set aside 5 minutes. Put away your phone, turn it off if you can, or turn off your notifications, and take some time and be still in silence. Start with 5 minutes. And then ask yourself a question. For example, where am I not at peace? Am I not at peace with something I've done? Am I not at peace with a family member, with a colleague, with my teacher, or with the world? And listen to what's going on inside. What's happening? What feelings are you feeling? And next to you, you should have a pen and paper, a real pen and paper, and write down. Write down what's coming up for you. And it doesn't need to make sense. It's not about judgment. It's about understanding what's going on inside, and journaling is a great tool to help us to do that. So as you're writing it down, then take a moment and pause and read through what you've written. Sometimes you might notice something that you want to change, and sometimes you don't, and that's all right. The most important thing is to make this a habit. Make inner reflection, giving yourself some quiet time to better understand yourself, a daily habit like brushing your teeth. Inner reflection isn't about regret or making yourself feel bad for things you've done in the past. It's about understanding where we've come from to make better versions of ourselves. And inner reflection isn't something new. It's something that human beings have been doing for a very long time, across centuries, across borders, and across the world's traditions. And modern science backs this up too. We know from neuroscience that a regular practice of inner reflection helps foster neuroplasticity in the brain. So that's our ability to rewire and adapt. It helps our decision making. So inner reflection isn't just a feel-good process, it's actually a survival skill. So you might be thinking to yourself, okay, great. I can sit here and ask myself questions and reflect internally, and there's all kinds of problems going on in the world. How is this going to make a difference? How is this going to change anything? Who am I to make a difference? We all want change, but very often we forget that we are involved in the problems that we're trying to fix. It's very easy to point a finger at your spouse, at your colleague, at a coworker, at your boss, at the world, at your job. But we often don't point the finger at ourselves and ask, how do I need to change? How am I part of the problem? And how can I be a part of the solution? Inner reflection is a key component of inner change, which can lead to outer change. And we know that this increased self-awareness and inner reflection is where true transformation happens. One of my favorite quotes is something that Murray Sinclair, who was an Indigenous leader from Canada, said on innovation. He said, "Innovation isn't necessarily about creating new things, Sometimes it's about looking to the past and bringing those things forward to the future. So as we think about all the problems that we face in the world, we often like to think about technology or about new things, but sometimes we can look back to ancient wisdom and bring it to the current context to help us. Humanity is at a crossroads. We have humongous problems. I don't need to explain this to you. You see it in the news, you see it on your phone. We have an existential climate crisis. We have increased wars around the world, rearmament in Europe, an international system which is being flushed down the toilet. But we have a choice. We can be like the king, the businessman, or the drinker and lose ourselves in control, consumption, or escape. Or you can be like the prince and the fox and focus on what truly matters. Because change doesn't happen out there, it happens in here. So today I invite you, I challenge you, take 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Turn off your phone for 5 minutes. Sit in quiet and ask yourself, where am I not at peace? What am I taming? And what kind of change do I want to see in the world? Because if enough of us do this, if enough people in the world are acting with intention and focusing on what's essential, we're not just changing the world, but we're changing the world around us. So I leave you with the secret of the fox. What is essential is only seen with the heart. Will you try it today? Thank you.